I'm Chef Ben. Let's make some short rib bierocks. Why I love short ribs so much is because there's such a great fat content in it, and on this there's such good marbleization in it. I think that it makes a superior product far beyond ground beef when you add to your bierocks. Something else that I like about the short rib is that it's shredded, and I think that when you add that with the cabbage and the other kind of secret ingredient that we are adding to the bierocks, that it gives an awesome texture and an awesome flavor. We're gonna take this salt here. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on nice and liberally. So I'm gonna take this pepper here. We're gonna put that right on top of it. All right, so the next step is we're gonna go ahead and put it into the pressure cooker. We're going to set it to saute. We're going to add oil, and we won't wait till it gets hot because you don't wanna sear it, any kind of meat or anything, on a cold oil and in a cold pan. So we wanna get this kind of hot here, and then we're gonna take this and set it on and sear it. And if you can hear that, that is a good thing. Cooking is not just the senses of your eyes and your taste buds. It's also you have to hear. It is important. If you don't hear that on your sear, you need to take it out and let it get hotter. The next important step is we need to deglaze the pan. And what you're gonna do is take this chicken stock, and when you put it on, you'll hear it deglaze the bottom. Hear that? Once again, cooking with our ears. Okay, so then what I also have is some coffee. So I'm gonna pour that right on in top of that. And then to top it off, the last thing is a little bit of Worcestershire. Now that the short ribs are in the pressure cooker, we're gonna let them cook for an hour till they're fall off the bone ready. While that's cooking, we're gonna move over here and start working on the cabbage filling. The first thing I'm gonna do is take a pan, get it to a nice medium to medium high heat. You should be able to feel it, just like I was talking with senses of hearing. You should be able to put your hand over and feel that there's heat coming from it, okay? Then I'm gonna take my butter and I'm going to place that into the pan. You don't want this too hot because when you put the butter in there, it could turn brown, and at that point you start to get a nutty flavor. So you wanna keep it right here where it's at, this nice color here. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my garlic. It's already been minced up. We're gonna add about a teaspoon or so to here. Okay, so garlic's turned one shade of color. I'm gonna take my diced onion here, and we're going to cook this to where this goes to one shade of color on the onions. I'm just gonna take just a little bit of salt, put it over my onions, just a little bit of pepper, put it over my onions. All right, next thing is I'm gonna take my cabbage and we're gonna add it to this pan. So once that we have our cabbage in here, I'm going to take and we're going to deglaze again, but this time we're going to use beer. Okay, my beer here I have chosen is a porter. This is a 12-ounce can, so we're gonna pour about 8 ounces on here. Put your lid right on top, okay, and we're gonna let this cook for 30 minutes. By the time this is done cooking, your hour's probably gonna be done on your pressure cooker. Smells great. I'm gonna take this thing, let it do a 1, 2, 3 drip on here. Bring it over to our cutting board. You can take your knife in here and you can just kind of rough chop it in there so it kind of goes together well with the beef here. Okay, so now we're going to take our short rib mixture and we're going to add it to the cabbage here while cooking it for about 10 minutes. So we want it to be able to soak in that flavor from the cabbage and from the beer, the onions, and the garlic and whatnot, okay? So I'm gonna put this right in here, stir it so it's all evenly distributed. So you see a little bit of cabbage, you see a little bit of beef, okay? And then you're gonna put your lid back on and you're gonna let it cook here for about 10 minutes. And a little bit about the dough, you can buy these frozen. This is the best and easiest way to do bierock. This is the size it comes out when you pull it from the freezer, okay? This is the size we want it to be is here. And it's been out at room temperature for maybe close to 45 minutes. And we're gonna take 2 of these, put them together, and that's what's gonna make our dough for the bierocks. So I've got 1, 2, I'm gonna push them together here, roll them together, and then I just like to use my hands and just kind of push and pull it out like this. So, and that's about the size I'm looking for is right here, okay? Cabbage and short rib go right into this here. And next comes smoked Gouda cheese in with it, okay? So we put that right in here with it, and then we're gonna bring the sides together here. You should have 4 sides that come together. And then you're gonna pull it together and you're gonna pinch it. So comes here, I'm moving it, And I'm pinching it with my fingers here, okay? Flat, and we have our first Bierock, okay? Before we place these in the oven, we always want to brush them with butter. So I'm going to take and make sure I put this on here. I'm just going to brush the outside here. I got some melted butter, just like so. So now that I have these all brushed with the butter, we're going to go ahead and put them into our preheated oven at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes.